Thank you for the invitation to speak at this event. I think it's one of a series of events looking at developments within the European Union. And so it's very timely that at this time of crisis that we should be coming together in this way to look at the different options. I'm particularly pleased to be here with Nuala Ahern, who we were colleagues and great friends in the time that we worked together in the European Parliament, and it's lovely to be in Dublin on a beautiful sunny day too. Even though our two countries are very close neighbours, I certainly don't visit Ireland often enough. And that's one of the things that I think we need to look at developing, to the closeness between the different nations within the European Union. But we are, of course, seeing dramatic changes, and these discussions are taking place in Brussels on a daily basis. In fact, it's been going on for some years, of course, the crisis and the discussion about the resolution of that crisis. But it has come to the point now where, as Nuala said earlier, things like the UK withdrawing from the European Union are being talked about openly. Things that a few years ago, even though some right-wing Conservatives or UK Independence Party members might have been calling for in the House of Commons, they were things that we never actually believed would really happen. Well, that's changed now. And the crisis, of course, is not just an economic crisis, it's a democratic crisis, it's a social crisis, and certainly it's an environmental crisis, because whilst naturally when people's wages are being cut, when their pensions are being cut, when unemployment is at sky-high levels, then that's the issue that's going to be at the top of most people's minds. And climate change and the need to fight climate change has slipped right down the political agenda. We see those two issues as going hand in hand, of course. The way to help resolve the crisis is to make the kind of investment to create green jobs that will revitalise the economy. But that's not the way it's been seen. But the whole crisis has created a new atmosphere and a self-examination of what we are doing in the European Union. And that's not a bad thing, of course. It's a good thing that we should be looking at that. Unfortunately, certainly within the UK context, it's done against the backdrop of the tabloid press becoming more and more hysterical. I mean, I can't believe some of the headlines in some of the newspapers now about what the European Union is telling Britain to do next. And unfortunately, of course, this message does hit home with a lot of people. It is the kind of press that people read, and so it's much more difficult for us to get our message across. But on top of the whole discussion, in parallel to the whole discussion on the future of Europe that we are seeing on a European Parliament level and with the European Commission, there is, of course, tremendous change happening at the sub-state level. That not only is the referendum going to take place in Scotland in 2014, but there are major changes happening in Catalonia. There's an election in Catalonia on the 25th of this month, which is an election for the government in Catalonia, but it's much more than that, of course. Symbolically, it's an election for the people to make a statement about wanting Catalonia to become independent from Spain. And so there are major changes going on at other levels as well, which until now, it's fair to say that the European Commission and certainly the European Council has ignored or tried to ignore. The point has been reached now where that can't be ignored any longer. For my own part, and for Plaid Cymru, the Party of Wales, we would like to see Wales becoming a member state of the European Union. And the reason for that is quite simple. It's because that's the normal status for any nation, to have independence. We want to see equality between all of the nations of Europe. And at the moment, we are reliant on being represented by David Cameron voting for us in the Council of Ministers. We want to be able to strengthen our economy. We want to play a full part in Europe. We want to make our contribution to that new international world order that Eamon talked about. But we are not able to do that because we don't have the freedom to do that at the moment. And within the European Union, we would like to be able to represent the Welsh national interest. And we can't do that at the moment. I'll give you a couple of examples. The structural funds, of course, and European funding generally is hugely important in many small countries, and not least Wales. 80% of our farmers are dependent on the Common Agricultural Policy payments. 2/3 of Wales gets the top level of European funding because of poverty levels. And we get a lot of other funding besides that. And yet we have a government in the UK which has been calling, and it's not just this government, the previous Labour government took the same line, calling for big cuts in the EU budget. And the main targets that they identify for those cuts are the agricultural budget and the structural funds budget. So we have a UK government that is acting acting directly to undermine the position of the Welsh economy. If they had their way, they cut the funding that most of our communities depend on. And we depend on that funding because of the policies of UK government that has marginalised the Welsh economy over the years. And so there is no way that the UK can represent the Welsh national interest in Brussels. Another example is our language. We have 2 languages in Wales, which is quite normal in European countries, and yet we don't have official status for the Welsh language in Europe. We've been campaigning for many years. We have what's called now co-official status, which is a kind of halfway status, but we don't have that. And when we're talking about Europe and people and connections and closeness, what's more effective in terms of establishing a good relationship than speaking to people in their own language and languages? But we don't have that. Within the Parliament, Plaid Cymru is a member of the European Free Alliance, which is a European political party, but obviously a group within the Parliament. And we've worked since 1999 with the Green parties in Europe. We've worked very successfully. We've been the 4th biggest group in the Parliament, and we are very close, not only in working relationships to keep the group going, but politically we are very close as well, and we share the majority of the political agenda. And we've worked for an effective European Union, but our parties, of course, put a lot of emphasis, the EFA parties put a lot of emphasis on self-determination, on getting more autonomy, independence, powers for what we see as the real nations and regions of Europe. And what's a common thread running through all of the EFA work is our enthusiastic support for an effective future European Union. We are not uncritical, neither are the Greens. Of course, we spend a lot of time criticising the way that the EU works. But we want the EU to be strengthened, to be more effective, to be more answerable, open and democratic. And when the Lisbon Treaty was being discussed, I supported a referendum on the Lisbon Treaty in the UK, something that was totally misunderstood by the press, because the only people calling for a referendum were the people who were against the Lisbon Treaty. But we wanted a referendum because we wanted a real debate on Wales's place in the future of Europe. And now we are looking at the whole range of scenarios, the whole range of options that there can be for all of us within the EU, but unfortunately, again within the UK context, it's been looked at as a very simple in or out vote. That's what people are calling for now. And in the House of Commons, just 2 weeks ago, there was an amendment put down to a debate by the rebel Conservative MPs, supported by the Labour Party, which was calling for even further cuts in the EU budget than David Cameron was proposing. And this marked a sea change in the way that the British political parties are looking at the European Union, and I think it's a very retrograde step that they've joined together. It may be for short-term political advantage, but the consequences of that are really shocking. And if anyone reads Hansard, I don't normally, but I did on this occasion, you will see that the tone of the language used in that debate is really horrifying. The way that they talk about Europe, the whole essence of Europe, of the partnership, of the solidarity, of the prevention of conflict, all of that is lost. All that they're talking about is money, and we want our money back, and we are not going to give more money to the Commission. That's the only way in which the debate is being carried out. And I think that makes things very much more difficult for those of us who are working within the UK context, because we do want to emphasise that solidarity, and within our group we have done that during the crisis. We do want to work together on climate change, fighting climate change, protecting social rights, on gender equality and so on, supporting the EU international programmes, and to do that we do need to work together to not only overcome the economic crisis, but also to ensure that the resources are available to invest in creating jobs in the future. Now, this whole debate, of course, within the EU and the UK is taking place against another backdrop, and that is of the referendum in Scotland in 2014. And for us in Wales, it means that we have to think very carefully, and we are just beginning the debate on our future. We are not a region of England, so where does the independence debate leave Wales? How do we ensure that we are part of that debate, that we are not sidelined even further, that within the UK or whatever will exist after 2014, and within the EU, that we have a stronger position, that we are able to play a real part. And we know that it's going to change the future constitutional relationship altogether. I think whatever the result is in 2014, things will change, and we have to be sure that that change enables Wales to contribute more to the European Union. We are seeing the same kind of debate, of course, as I said earlier, in Catalonia, and all of these situations are unique, but they are all common threads. And what makes the connection between all of them is that the debate on their future and the debate on independence is taking place very firmly within a new European Union context. It's not about being outside of Europe, it's within Europe, building a new Europe. And it's ironic, isn't it, that at the same time when we are talking about making the European Union more relevant, or the Commission as well, and government leaders are talking about making Europe more relevant, there's also a debate going on about possibly expelling a whole nation of Scots if they vote for independence, when they are enthusiastic Europeans. It just doesn't make sense. And so we have to bring these things together. We have to look at how all of the nations can be brought in, and those people who want to be part of Europe are part of Europe. You know, the UK might want to leave, but Scotland wants to stay in, and so does Wales. And so we have to ensure that the UK message is not taken as the message of all of us who live in these islands. But we do have to respond and react to the way that we've alienated the people in Europe through the EU's response to the economic crisis. We have a tremendous amount of work to do on that. The polls are showing now that the people's views of the European Parliament, even we thought we were seen as the good guys, but even people's views of the European Parliament are now dropping in the polls. People are losing patience with the way that Europe has been reacting. And the President of the Commission, Barroso, has called for a major debate now up to the European elections where we talk about the future of Europe. Well, yes, let's do that, but let's not let them set the agenda. Let's set the agenda that we're talking about here this morning. And just on a positive note to finish, there is a tremendous amount of Euroscepticism in the UK. You'll all have heard and seen, I'm sure, the UK Independence Party and how they've been acting and the press attention that they've been getting. But we had a by-election in Cardiff South this week, and they came 5th